Hello, my name is Duane Smith, and I'm one of the co-founders of B2 Outlet Stores. Today, I have the exciting opportunity of sharing with you a little bit of our story. Redirection. This is perhaps the best word that describes the original origins of B2. You see, B2 was not planned, yet we know today that it's very much a part of God's plan. If you operate from a faith-based worldview, as I do, you're not surprised by redirection. In fact, I'm sure you can relate, given that most of us experience some degree of redirection in our lives. From a perspective of faith, I see redirection as God leading me into His ultimate plan, knowing that I can trust that His plan is always going to be much greater and better than anything I could come up with on my own. Such was the case for my family in March of 2013. Prior to this time, my wife Karen had been battling cancer for about 5 years. When you're on the cancer journey, you realize quickly that upon a checkup, you receive good news or not so good news, depending upon your perspective. That March, Karen knew that the cancer had returned even before we went in for the checkup. And so when we heard the news from the physician, we were not shocked. My heart goes out to physicians who have to share difficult news with their patients, but I'm sure it is part of their calling. His news was delivered with a caring, compassionate heart. At the same time, it was pretty black and white. 12 months if you go back on chemo and radiation, 6 months without. My wife was at a good point in her faith, and she trusted God. Chemo and radiation did not treat her body well, and so in her mind, it really was not an option. It didn't surprise me when she decided no further treatment. We're simply going to trust God, and when the time comes for God to call me home, I'll be ready. A little bit about my kids. They were a little older at this point, which I'm grateful. My daughter Megan was in her sophomore year of Valparaiso University in Indiana. Nick, my youngest son, was in his junior year at Hudsonville High School. My oldest son, Matt, had the most difficult decision to make. He was wrapping up his senior year at Palm Beach Atlantic University in Florida. Matt loved Florida, and he desired to stay and pursue some business ventures. But he was torn, knowing that he likely should come home and be with his mom. At the end of the day, he made the right decision and did decide to come home. At one point that spring, we had a conversation about his future. You see, 2 years prior to that, we had begun dabbling with buying and selling liquidated goods, and we were having fun just out of a pole barn in our backyard. He was able to make a few dollars, pay for some gas going back and forth to Florida, cover the cost of a few books, and even a little bit of room and board. But at the end of the day, it was mostly for fun. That spring, he posed the question to me of whether I thought this could be anything more than just a fun backyard venture. I really didn't know, but I knew that we could discern that through prayer. And so after a few weeks, we came back together and both concluded that this could have potential. It could be something more. But if we pursued it, it would not be to pad our pockets. It would be to give back, to bless others, to make a difference in the lives of other people. In October of 2013, God called Karen home. And about that time, a small online auction company became available for sale. We were able to purchase that company with life insurance monies. And so within a couple months, we launched what was then Bid to Benefit Youth, a new online auction venture. If there's one thing you learn about the auction business very quickly is that it's incredibly labor intensive and it doesn't generate a lot of profit. And so it was difficult for us to live into our mission and vision without being able to have profit to give back. A few months in, the landlord came to us and said he had a second building available for lease. Were we interested? In the online auction business, you can never have too much space. And so indeed we were interested. We were excited that he was willing to give it to us at a reduced rate. He believed in our mission and vision. But at the same time, as we crunched the numbers, we realized very quickly that we were probably at a make or break state. Either it was going to go or we'd be done within a few months. We again prayed into this and stepped out on faith. That November of 2014, we opened the first outlet store in Hudsonville. Shortly after, Matt was also able to secure a Costco contract, which looking back now, we can say that that truly put us on the map. By spring of 2015, the outlet store was quickly becoming our fastest revenue producer. And today, no doubt, it is our main primary source of income. From that point on, there was no looking back. We engaged accelerated growth at an amazing pace. Today, we're very much a family business. My youngest son, Nick, having completed college, joined the business as our CFO. He worked part-time for us a while before that, but today at age 26, handles all the finances of the organization. 6 other family members have also joined us, but at the same time as we think of our entire employee team, we think of all of them as family. Looking back, it's been a wild ride. We now have 28 stores, 21 outlet stores, and 7 bin stores altogether. 600 employees with a goal of eventually growing this to 150 stores by 2026. By God's grace, we've been able to give back over $2 million to over 300 different nonprofit groups, while at the same time helping each customer in each community stretch their dollar. Our goal eventually is to be able to give back $10 million annually. God's faithfulness is the thing that has carried us. Every day is a challenge as we navigate tough and difficult economic times, but at the same time, we continue to see God's faithfulness over and over again. Our story is not unique if you're a believer, because at the end of the day, we believe God is always working good, even when the outlook may appear to be bleak. We miss Karen, but we know she is enjoying heaven. Someday we'll join her there, but while still here, we have a calling and we have a job to do. Each day we have the privilege of being a part of something so much more amazingly bigger than we could ever imagine, where out of the ashes of death, God brings beautiful new life. Thank you for listening to our story. May God bless you as you live into your own story.